Hey everyone, it's Garrett with The Actor's Dream, Memory Training for Actors. This is video 1. This is going to be the introductory video that talks about all of the basic techniques, principles, and applications that the whole program is going to provide for you. And again, this program is going to be structured for people who have a general understanding of theater and the acting process. In subsequent videos, for people who are absolute total beginners, we're going to go back and really help you build those building blocks. But for now, I'm just going to go through a basic introduction of what the primary elements of the program are going to be, and then we'll move on to techniques, principles, and then applying those things to specific drills. So the first thing that we want to talk about is, well, why is it important, right? Why is memorizing important, right? And the reason memorizing is important is because it's the fundamental skill that all actors need, but they're never taught, right? And so for years and years and years, we haven't been training memorization because we haven't had to, right? Back when I was a kid, we had to memorize phone numbers and addresses and all those things. Now you don't have to, right? We have iPhones, we have technology, but what we've gained in that aspect of our lives, we've lost that other element, right? So right now what we need to do as actors is we need to supplement that with the knowledge of how do we learn how to memorize, because it's the fundamental skill that we all need, right? So The Actor's Dream, right? The program itself is basically going to be set up into 2 separate parts. The first series is going to be simple techniques and principles, and then you're going to basically take all of those techniques and principles and put them into applying them to situational drills. And so what that basically means is, to use a sports metaphor, if you're in football, you're practicing punting, special teams, kickoff, the 2-minute drill, right? A lot of times as actors, what we do is we get a piece of text and then we say, well, how the heck am I going to memorize this, right? Especially if it's long, especially if it's really convoluted or complicated, if it's nonlinear, those things, right? If you have a problem with cue lines, if you have a problem with lists, monologues, poetry, Shakespeare. And what I want you all to be able to do is to be able to take any of these things and proactively attack what you're looking at. So there should never be a time where you pick up a piece of text and think, I don't know how to do this, right? I want you all to be able to be proactive rather than reactive, okay? So the second series, once we get to applying these, the idea is that this is going to be an ongoing weekly and maybe eventually daily video series where you're able to engage, we're able to have a community where if you have a problem, you can write to me, leave a link in the description, leave comments, and we can actually have a conversation about how to help the whole acting community improve how they memorize, right? So basically, the idea here is that the fundamental thing that we need to do when we're memorizing is we need to create meaning, right? The 99% of the time, the reason you can't memorize something is because it's not meaningful, right? And so what these are basically the elements that are going to be involved in the program about how you can turn something meaningless into something meaningful, okay? So the first thing we have is organization, right? How is it set up? What's the structure, right? What are the beats, units, and tensions, right? Beats, units, and intentions help us create an arc or a 3-dimensional character, but the thing that we don't talk about a lot is it actually helps us remember because it makes things make sense, okay? The second thing is visualization, right? Sometimes visualizing things, making images, making those things meaningful, especially if you're a visual learner, that's going to help you out. Association, we're going to talk about that, how to connect one thing to another, okay? Your attention, are you distracted? Are you multitasking? Are you working in a room that's loud where 3 other things are going on? That's important. Feedback, one of the things we'll talk about is how important it is to say things out loud as you're learning them instead of saying them in your head. You get that phenomenon of, well, I had it at home, I had it in the shower, I had it in the car. No, you didn't, right? Your mind told you you had it, but the only way to really get confirmation is to say it out loud. So we're going to be talking about the importance of feedback, right? Interest, do you care, right? Like you have those moments where you're cast in a part where you might be Handmaiden 2. Maybe you don't care as much as if you were Lady M, right? So how do you transform something maybe that you're not interested in and turn it into something meaningful? That's an important thing, right? There's no substitute for repetition, right? Time, but also we don't want to get into a sense where we're rote, where we're just going, pacing back and forth in our room for 6 hours, just trying to force the text into our head. We want to be intentional about how we're using time so we can be efficient, right? But repetition is very important. Relaxation, again, related to the idea of attention and these environmental factors, right? Are you stressed out, right? Are you on a time crunch? All of these things that add to stress and the challenges that you face having to do those things under the clock, or if you're dealing with a life situation or a work situation or something personal, finding a way to relax is going to be important. And then finally, all of this is related to environment too, right? So what kind of environment, even if you've had a situation where you rehearse in one space and then you move to the theater or you move to a different studio, sometimes it's harder to remember those things just because it's just a different set of, it's a different floor, the spacing's different, there's a window here in this room and there's no windows. All these things add and contribute to our ability to be able to proactively attack those things, right? So again, this is the primary building block that we're going to be doing for this first series, the techniques and principles. And then my goal for you all is that you'll be able to take these simple things, and we are going to be starting simply. So we're going to be laying that foundation simply so that you can go into this next series and beyond, as you know, hopefully there's a future life of this program, and we can slowly build out to phrases and scenes and monologues and really see where we can take this. So that's basically the main introduction. The next video is going to be us jumping right into logic and story, which is going to be the real meat and potatoes of what you're going to be doing in terms of the memorization work. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Leave any comments in the comment section, and we'll see you in video 2, which is going to talk about story and logic.